You're listening to Those Dram Yinzers with your hosts, Jon and Zach.
Hey everyone, I'm Jon.
And I'm not Zach.
And welcome to a special edition of Those Dram Yinzers, where we drink days 6 through 10 of the 2023 Pittsburgh Whiskey Advent Calendar. For everything Those Dram Yinzers, be sure to visit thosedramyinzers.com. You can find our social media links, our Patreon page, the order form for our hats, and the link to Zach's favorite website, which is, as everyone should know at this point, dramit.threadless.com. You can find all other merch that we offer. If you're interested in sponsoring the show, want us to do an ad for your product, or would like us to review your product, send us a DM or an email. One way you can help out the show and get something for yourself is Frost Buddy. It's the best all-in-one koozie you can have. Their Universal Buddy can fit 4 different types of bottles and cans and can even turn into a drink container with the additional lid. You know, for those mixed drinks that we all know we all want to make. Use the link in our bio to check it out for yourselves, and if you buy something through our link, Frost Buddy will send us part of the sale. Great way to support the show and get something for yourself in return. My amazing wife is having her NICU onesie drive again. She had so many donated last year for children's NICU, she actually added extra links so you can choose different UPMC NICUs across the state to send onesies to. It's all through Amazon wishlist, so super easy to buy and send some new onesies to you to a NICU that you are, close with. Check out the link in our bio again to find the post to know how to donate today. All right, as you heard, it's not Zach today. Our good buddy Brian Paul from the Boggers. Boggers, what am I just blanking? Boggers United.
There you go.
Yeah. Jesus. It's been a week. Is joining us here. Brian actually won a raffle in 2022.
18 months ago. But who's counting?
But who's counting?
This I do not believe this appearance counts towards that.
No, I mean, you're obviously going to be back. I mean, technically your appearance at the 7th anniversary show didn't count either. So,
That's a fair point. I forgot all about that.
Brian actually won you got a shirt and a hat, which definitely got those. And then a spot on the show, which Zach and I are hoard. You all know this, hoard with planning and keeping things on schedule. So I've been really bad about getting Brian on here, but he's here now. So, and he will be back because I need someone to teach me about Pete.
That's right.
Because I think I know things, and then I hang out with you, and you talk about other stuff, and I was like, I have no idea what he just said, but I'm going to shake my head and not grin and shake my head. But anyway, thanks for coming.
No, absolutely. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to it. Going full on omnipore, I would assume, tonight based on the first week. So
yeah, for sure. But
it'll be an interesting journey for me.
Oh yeah. And Aaron assured me, not to give anything away, but Aaron assured me that whether when you and I actually recorded this, whatever set it was, he assured me that the first 3 sets you would be happy with at least one of them. So, even if I had to maneuver things, be like, no, Brian, he has to have one of the first 3.
That's it. No. Glad to hear it. Glad it worked out. I am an omnipore guy. My entire repertoire and collection is not peat. Every once in a while, I'll even open up bourbon, So,
can you explain omnipore?
So, omnipore is a PWF specific term that Aaron coined. Basically, like an omnivore, an omnipore enjoys everything. So, I specialize and recognize the superior spirit that is peated whiskey. But I will partake and drink bourbon, rye, Irish. Don't really drink ASMs too much. I'm batting like 0.00003.
Really?
Yeah. One to date. That's actually wowed me enough to buy a bottle.
Interesting.
So,
which one was that?
It was a Boulder Spirits by who is that independent bottler? Lost Lantern.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Lost
all right.
Lantern had a single barrel. It's a hazmat. And I thought it was all gimmick. I got it as a gift for one of the Bogger admins, Bam, who's a huge ASM guy. And then I sampled his, and I was like, "Son of a biscuit! I need to get
I gotta
me
go
one
buy
of these."
another one.
That's it. And I like it's in like the do not open category right
nice.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that good of a bottle. And when somebody's in my future, when somebody's whining and crying how ASMs aren't actually palatable, I'll be able to open it up and we can try it together.
I've been getting a little bit more into them. I think just because they're starting to show up more.
Yeah, I would say they're starting to mature. Right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Yes.
I think a lot of the ASMs that first hit the market were a lot of Texas whiskeys, right?
Well, yeah.
You know, aged very quickly, whether we like it or not, just with the climate down there.
Oh, yeah.
So
They
a
don't
bunch
have
of
choice.
Balcones, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was seeing a bunch of Balcones. Who's some of the others? I can't even remember off the top of my head. Obviously got the Westwards and Westlands. They're Pacific Northwest whiskeys. They just always tasted immature, little green for me. Same thing with the Texas, but the Texas brought the extra heat and funk with it. So, but now it's starting to mature into a category. So,
Yeah, and I know they're working on getting that as an official category. I know that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it actually happened yet or not. I don't keep
I gotta
tabs
ask
on
Josh.
ASMs.
Josh is our like resident like expert, whatever.
Yeah.
He keeps up with way more than I can keep up with all of that. But Josh, comment on this and let me know what's up. But yeah, I think it's more recent, right? So you're right. It's finally matured. You know, I had oh god, it was years ago. The first ASM I had was a Stratahans.
Oh yeah, Stranahans.
Stratahans.
They were one of the
I think
first
that was
ASMs.
it was either them or God, I don't remember. This was so long ago.
Yeah.
It was at an event, and I want to say it was them. It might have been one other place, but I had never heard of it like that.
Sure.
That category yet. But yeah, it's interesting. It's popping up more now, and yeah, we'll see where that goes. And I'm sure, like just with anything, like as these age more, as more places are,
Eventually,
and
the
everything.
market gets so saturated, you're going to find some good stuff, right?
For sure. So, on that note, let's go with number 6.
So the first thing that I always look for in a whiskey is its legs.
I don't do that enough. I know I should, and then sometimes like, oh wait, let me look at this. But
Mouthfeel is so important to me, and I think that's
I agree.
what leads me down traditional, Scottish single malt route. I'm not a proof for it, but you tend to see this thick, oily whiskeys and viscosity with a lot of single malts. So this one has nice legs. They don't cling to the glass too much, but they're there. And on the nose, just getting a real nice cereal. This could walk down the path of a single malt.
I get like a weird, like a white grape. I used this one. I used this note last time. Sparkling white grape juice. Like the little like non-alcoholic. Like that's
yeah.
that's the kind of like white like fruit.
Almost like there's a little bit of a tickle from the effervescence.
Yep.
Yeah, in this case, I think it's just acetone, but but you're still getting that same effect. No, I would agree. I was going to say even like a super, super very light citrus, but that's something I try to always look for in whiskey. It's one of my favorite notes. But yeah, I would agree with you. It's leaning way heavier into that orchard. So
I do get. You said could lean single malt. I definitely get a little like a maltiness in there somewhere.
yeah, and it's a cereal grain. It's not corn.
Right. Yes.
It's not rye. It doesn't have that spice. It's nice. It's light.
Not a horrid nose to start off with.
No, sweet. I keep getting maybe the slightest hint of something floral. You know what I mean? Like at the very end of the nose, at the very end of your breath. So it's interesting. It's definitely walking down the Scotch route.
I mean, the coloring on it is. I mean, I can see the back of yours. Mine don't have the labels in front,
Sure.
but like, and like it's actually an interesting. It just goes light to dark, you know. So you know, if you want to go that typical characteristic, you know what I mean.
Lighter color tends to be Scotch. So funny enough, it almost looks darker in the glass in the Glen. So.
No, probably. I got about a little bit.
My pour is slightly heavier than yours. I got a little carried hand.
It's all good. That's why I'm glad Aaron. You know, I thank him every show, but like they give us 2 boxes, so that we can because we
really
used to do it with one, and it got so especially if we had people on as well, it just got real hard. But
yeah, absolutely.
But
that's interesting. That finish lingers.
Yeah, it does. I get that same. I like how you put it. The cereal grain.
Yeah, this is very grain forward. I'm getting none of that acetone that I got on the nose, on the palate.
Yeah.
Cereal grain, almost leaning into like a hay grassiness. You know, not like fresh cut grass, which is something I get on a lot of Texas whiskeys. You know what I mean? But actually, like a mature. And it's not sweet enough to be like a fresh cut hay either. It's like just a tall grass walking through the meadow type of situation.
Yeah. Do you think that grainy note, cereal note, do you think that could be a result of kind of like something that's like younger in age? Or no, because you're not really getting a lot of like tannins and shit like that on it.
No, so for me, I get a lot of tannins and a lot of barrel influence. Obviously, the longer it sits in a barrel, right?
True.
So especially with my whiskey of choice, you know, Octomore, I am the Octo whore. I tend to get not a lot of maltiness. It leans now Bruichladdich in general, especially from the Jim McEwen day, leans really heavy into the citrus, the guava, and all that. Great. You know, of course, smoke. Octomore is the heaviest peated whiskey in the world. Unless you ask Jim Wagon, he says it's Ardbeg, but he'd be wrong. So like with something like this, I would probably lean into it more or less being a blend. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because there could be something old in there bringing a little bit of that tannininess, but for the most part, I mean, this is kind of just like, this almost tastes like a Highland blend or something like that. It is super grain forward from a malty perspective, on the palate as well as the nose. It's relatively simple.
I would agree with that. I don't, I mean, I'm not getting any like super smoky like you would expect, like peaty, you know.
Yeah,
but it's not like briny
no.
like some other regions. I like your Highland.
Yeah, it's a Highland Speyside. It's not your Campbelltown Funk.
No.
I definitely think we're dealing with a Scotch here, but I do believe it's a blended Scotch. So,
yeah, I would agree with that. Like, there's a slight like Scotch feel to that, which makes me agree with you with the Highland aspect.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. See, this is my issue that I take with light whiskeys. And when I say light whiskeys, I mean low proof. And I'm not a proof whore. I'm not Bobby Long sitting across from me. But I tend to lean more towards proof to the point where, like, I won't buy something that is proof down unless it has a substantial reputation behind it. So, like, when I drink something like this that I have no idea what it is, there's not enough jumping out at me to make this concerted decision. Like, I cannot tell you, yes, this is leaning a little peaty, but is it leaning peaty because maybe it was finished in a peat cask? You know what I mean? Is this a used Lafroig barrel? Is there, I mean, shoot.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah, so blended.
Don't fucking worry about it.
So blended whiskeys, especially if it's a blended Scotch, they could be sourced from 30 different distilleries. So if they're blending 1,000 barrels, there might be one peat barrel in there, and that could really present itself. So there could be a touch of peatiness in this.
I definitely don't think it's high proof. And I get what you're saying because I'm the same way. I mean, a lot of my bar, as you can see, right, I fill it with, other than weird shit for the show, I fill it with a lot of interesting whiskeys or intro whiskeys into different categories, right? Because when people come over, I don't have, a lot of our other friends, they're not huge into whiskey, but they know when they come here, they can pretty much taste a lot of different shit.
Absolutely.
And so I like having that. But then for me, right, for what I want, when I come down here and grab something, I'm with you. It's not a proof thing. It's a mouthfeel.
Yeah.
It's I want to thoroughly enjoy this front to back.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can get that with lower proof ones, but
yeah,
not like you can when it's,
This is a decent example of that. This finish really does linger. It definitely clings to your palate, but not with a viscosity type of way. There's just a strong... I don't want to call it pepper because it's not quite pepper.
I said white pepper.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
There you go. So it's a very mild light pepper. It's certainly not a chili. It's definitely not fresh ground cracked black pepper.
No.
But it just clings onto your palate, and that's what's sticking around. So if this is a blended Scotch, I really hope it's like a Compass Box product. That way we can actually know what the blend is. But if proof wise, so Scotch is famous for what they call export proof, which I want to say is 46%. Don't quote me on that. But they don't really ship things out of the country at 40 because a lot of people in the United States, I think, have a palate more towards the heavy alcohol. So I think 46% is what they consider export proof.
Gotcha.
So I would not be surprised if this is, a 92 proof whiskey.
I wrote down 90. That's usually when it's something like that light, right? At 90 is usually my.
But I also wouldn't be surprised, if this was 80 proof.
I don't typically go under 90 too much unless I'm really
There's just nothing.
There's nothing there.
That's your palate bias talking there. So.
But exactly. But okay, so. Just as a reminder, because again, I think we talked about this at the 7th anniversary show, but you were on the show before COVID.
Correct. Cookie table number 1.
The cookie table,
short-lived. How many of those you guys end up doing? 3?
Oh, God. 4.
Really?
There's a lost episode out there that I was late to, and Aaron recorded the Zoom, and then I connected everything and recorded, and I was like, I don't care. So there's a lost episode. So I want to say we got 4 of them done.
Because I think we did one in person.
That was the only one in person.
And then the other ones,
everything was all virtual. Yeah. And I did not have the knowledge that I do now about how to do a full table, record kind of thing. But
that's funny.
But yeah. Okay, so you're going 92?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean,
I record it just to see how do we do when we look it up, in the reveal show. So
gotcha.
Okay, so as a reminder, the ratings, Haas, downtown, throw it out. So by bar, pass basically.
Oh. I do not have a lot of blended Scotch. I have some Compass Boxes, so if it is a Compass Box, it would be more than welcome on my shelf. Just because I think it's leaning more towards a little bit of a generic, I'd do the pass. I'd throw it out.
Okay.
And I think if I was in a bar situation, if I was downtown, it would not appeal to me on the menu, right?
Right.
I would go to an Isla single malt. So.
Well, yeah, especially for you, if you're going to a bar that has any sort of Scotch that isn't Walker, that you're probably going to go for if they don't have something. If it's, you know what I mean?
They got Lafroig 10 on the shelf. It's good enough. Certainly not my favorite, but it works in a pinch, and it has. So,
all right, cool, awesome.
Who, buddy?
7.
Now we're talking.
This is the lightest of the bunch.
Right into this.
This is the lightest of the bunch.
Man, right on the nose. This is second time it happened to me. The nipple.
The nipple keeps
That's
getting
it.
stuck.
The little teat.
Yeah.
Man, we're in Isla right now, man, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Just instead of writing it Isla. That's
Yeah,
what,
yeah. This is an Isla single
Oh
malt.
God, I can smell it already.
Yeah.
Thank God Zach isn't here. I was supposed to do this one with him earlier this week, and he had to cancel. But
Well, good. Man, for people who say they don't like peat, like how can you not just dig into that?
that's just like there's a sweetness to it as well. It's just
Yeah, there's like that savory barbecue sweetness you hear so
Yes.
much about, but there's also one thing I really get in a lot of younger, heavily peated whiskeys is this underlying chocolate note.
okay.
So there is just a tiny bit of that on the nose. Although, hold on, if this is an Ardbeg, that may not be chocolate. This may be more of a wet soil, really rich earth.
I can see those notes for sure.
Yeah, the more I'm nosing this, it's got decent legs.
Yeah, I don't get it either because I thoroughly enjoy. I mean, you know, like I said, when Alex came on the show and brought all kind of like fucking Peat Monster and all that shit. Like,
Oh yeah,
you know, I was like, yeah, give me more. And Zach's over there like, you know,
Peat Monster is it's a monster, all right.
But what's funny is I'd say it to everybody. I was like, you know, when I started this show, if you'd have told me in 5 years I'm gonna love fucking peated whiskey, I'd have said you're nuts.
Well, you know what I mean. It's like it's such a journey. Like
Oh, for sure.
And I've told this experience before for the OG listeners. My first experience with peat was Lag 16, and I just chucked it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Like I had no wantingness to drink peat ever again. I was like, ugh, this tastes like somebody rinsed out an ashtray with good whiskey, and then I didn't touch it for years. And then we were at something for Bobby Long's birthday at the Leaf and Bean when an entire PWF share could fit in the Leaf and Bean on a Saturday. You know what I mean? There's all 7 of us.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I know Berto was there with Alex, obviously Bobby, and Aaron was there. So I just gotten into my Scotch journey now. I had Oban 14 on my honeymoon with my ex. And I was like, this is great. You know what I mean? It was like this salinity, but it wasn't like over salinity. I like that saline. I like that saltiness now, you know, but like back in the day when I would drink Talisker, I thought I was drinking Visine. So again, another Scotch I didn't like. So I was just tiptoeing into this. Wow, there's a whole different world out there. And then I ended up that night and these are all hammers, you know, Ardbeg Dark Cove, Lefroy 25, and Octomore. I can't remember which Octomore at the time. I want to say it was a 10 series. But and that would have been 4 years ago now, and then I've never looked back since. You know, I thought I was cool rolling in with my single cask Nation Port Dundas 42 year. You know, 42-year-old Scotch. Yeah. It was a single grain, you know. It was a grain, it wasn't a malt. It wasn't super expensive. I'm like, yeah. And then like these hammers come out. I'm like, yeah. And I was like, son of a bitch, I like peat. So
yeah. I mean, this show definitely is the reason why I have. I mean, you know, the famous calendar story is number 22 got, you know, was Ardbeg 10.
Yep. And
that set Zach off severely. But yeah, my one buddy, he messaged me the other day. He was like, hey, like, the guy I work with, like, you know, he runs like the program he's in, and he said, he's like, oh, he's a Scotch guy. I was like, okay, like, do you know, give me a label, like, look up labels and send me labels. He's like, oh, I don't know, you know. And he's like, I want to get him some stuff. He goes, what are some good ones? He goes, I bought him a Lag 16. I was like, all right, cool. And I was like, I let it go, and I was like, all right, cool. And I was like, well, I said, blah, blah, blah. And he's up in Erie, so I was like, well, you might have a little bit more luck of getting shit because you can pop it in New York or you can pop it in Ohio. I said, so I'll give you some other ones that I know we can't get here or are really fucking hard to get here, but you can pop in either, you know, any of the 3 states and search. So I gave him a couple other recommendations, and I was like, and to be honest, I'd have picked the 8 over the 16 of the Lag. Like, it's not that great. He's like, oh shit, now you tell me. It's like, well, you bought it first. What do you, you know? But But yeah, and I was like, "What's your budget?" He's like, there's no budget." I was like, "Okay, you don't know."
Yeah, this was
what you're
before.
getting now.
Yeah, I remember when Scotch was the expensive thing. Now,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Now people
I remember-
are paying $100 for Eagleware.
I remember. Don't get me started. I remember when I first started into whiskey, my big one was Crown Apple. I was the flavor intro. That's where my right.
Yeah.
And I remember I thought it was like hot shit, or like because I was buying like a $25 a bottle. Now I'm like,
Yeah.
that's cheap.
I used to buy Blanton's in Walmart in West Virginia
Well,
because it looked fancy.
Yeah.
And I'd mix it with ginger ale. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was my gateway was whiskey ginger ales.
Mm-hmm,
When I had the extra $40 to spend on a Blanton's back in the day
Mm-hmm.
versus my Canadian club for $7, you know, that's how I would splurge.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny how we very rarely do you just get
Transition.
somebody to come in. I feel like that's happening more and more often. People are just trying a neat pour of whiskey and they're like, fuck yeah, I'm hooked. But like I feel like because it's popular now, right? This
Yes,
is definitely
that's
a
where I
very
was gonna say
popular
yes.
thing. So I feel like people are more accepting and willing to try. Then there's my brother who consistently makes fun of me. Oh, look at this! Oh, I'm nosing a whiskey.
Oh yeah, my brother sends me all that.
Yeah,
shit
yeah,
too.
yeah.
And now
Yeah.
he started getting into it. He's like, "Fuck, I'm done making fun of you."
Well, now he sees like the Boggers shares, so he sees like me making prime rib and
Yeah, hell
roasting
yeah.
suckling pigs and all this stupid shit I'm doing for these Bogger things. And he's like, "Well, how come we never get invited?" I said, "You can start drinking whiskey. Well, you got drink peated whiskey.
Yeah.
But I mean, shit, my sister jumped on board. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So, Marla and Derek, my brother-in-law too.
they were there on Sunday. I got to meet
Yeah.
them.
They tried to crash the barrel pick at
They
Liberty
did.
Pool.
They did. Which they did because Kevin brought us
Yeah.
all the 5
Yeah.
samples out to
I
like the
figured that
mezzanine.
would happen,
Yeah.
So,
But,
anyways, back to
Yeah,
day
back
7.
to number 7.
Yeah, like I said, there's just such a nice, almost like a. This is going to sound real weird, and it's almost like a glazed, like that rich, sugary.
Yeah, well, as I said, this has
Yeah.
a very sweetness note to it that, again, I don't know why people would.
You know what this nose is? And you got to search for it. If you're into peat, you'll get it. This is a maple bacon donut.
Oh, see.
It's 100% what that is. It's 100% what it is. And if some of the bourbon people would just expand their horizons slightly, they'd find it too. You
Yes.
know what I mean? So
I got to tell you, Lisa, was it last year or the year before? She did 5 of these with me
Yeah.
because Zach and I just could not connect
Sure.
on dates. And she's not a whiskey fan, although she will drink like an old fashioned or something, you know. And the 2 that she ended up liking
Yeah.
were both like scotches.
oh yeah, yeah.
I was just like, oh, that's interesting.
So like this is a good example of some legs that really stick around. They're not budging.
Right.
So this is.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, this is 100% Ardbeg.
Yeah, it got that feel to it.
100%. Art. So of the big 3 in Isla and what I call the big 3, there's conjecture on whatever you want. I say there's Bruichladdich, there's Lafroig, there's Ardbeg.
Okay.
Lafroig is that very traditional, medicinal. Everybody's going to say iodine and Band-Aids. Mm-hmm. Bruichladdich, super bright, fresh, in your face, but with this just smoky background that really wraps everything together like a smoked fig. And then you have, although fig's a bad word, smoked peach is better.
Okay.
Fig leads into sherry. I'm not rich.
Yeah.
But then you have Ardbeg, which just I will put my entire reputation. I'll shut the Boggers down if this isn't an Ardbeg. They tend to lean more into that savory, barbecue, earthy, really rich peat to the point where they had a special release barrel. They buried the barrel in a peat bog, and then they sold it for like some sort of Ethereum coin, and so it was a $3,000 bottle, so it was unobtainable.
Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know how burying something in the dirt and then crypto plays together, but yeah. So, but yeah, I mean the palate, it's just got that the smoke just kind of wraps your whole palate, you know, your whole mouth up. But then as you search and it evolves across your tongue, you're getting those rich, like almost like savory pork shoulder notes. You know what I mean? That bacon that I was getting on the nose kind of is muted a little. There's not as much salinity on this one. For me, at least, and again, my palate's super accustomed to peat. There's a little bit of spice on this. Like, this is probably...
If I'm going to have somebody blind review, you notice I'm about to just, like, shut my mic off. Like, all right, bye.
Well, Well, I'm sure
This is
something
the Brian
in this,
Paul show now.
sure something in this is impeded, right? And I just never shut up.
Well,
I'm
that's
not
fine.
as bad as Rich and Alex, but, yeah, no. What are your thoughts, John? Come on.
So the first thing I noticed with that is almost there was a heat factor to it, where like a hot sauce, like Tabasco sauce, like that type of like hot pepper note to it, which was really interesting to me. I haven't really got that outside of like actually drinking, like what
Dicko Tabasco.
Dicko Tabasco, yeah, exactly. and so that was an interesting piece to it.
I could see that. It presents a little bit as a cayenne to me. I'm not a big hot sauce guy, so I don't
Right,
have that
yeah,
frame of
so something like
reference,
that, yeah. So I thought that was interesting. I don't. There's nothing about this I don't like. So
No. This
All right,
is
so
this is Haas.
let me
all day
let me
long.
let me put let me hold on. Let me just write this because I'm writing that as well. So, do you wanna take a gamble on which Ardbeg this is?
Well, it's not Oogie or Corey because there's no finish on it. That's definitely a bourbon barrel based on the Keller. So that of the core lineup, it's not Bizarre BBQ. That's their latest special edition.
Right. With all this barbecue notes you're talking about, I had that at a share. That's not what this is because that had a whole.
Oh, that is Bizarre BBQ. I thought it was going to be the biggest gimmick in the world, but that is genuinely, they fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
That is roasted. That is Kansas City style barbecue in a glass, which I'm not a huge fan of actually, but in a whiskey it works great. It pretty much leaves the 10, Inoa, and what's the one? Wee Beastie. I mean, unless Aaron threw in, there's another young Ardbeg called Ardbeg 8 for discussion. It's not super expensive, but it's kind of hard to get in the States. So I don't think it would be that.
I don't think it's
a 10.
I don't think it's 10 because of.
This is amped up. I think this is close to cash strength.
So this isn't a 10 because I would always recognize a 10
Yeah.
from past experience,
Yeah.
from our first Advent Calendar, right?
Yep.
Because I know Zach's palate, I know he wouldn't have had an issue with that back then. Now he definitely would love that, but he's coming around. We're
That's
getting
it.
him. You know what I
That's
mean?
it. Yeah,
So,
I just got to show up with the Octomores one night.
yeah. Okay, so I'm a Haas. You're a Haas. What's the proof?
I'm leaning. I don't remember what Inoa's proof is, and I don't remember what Wee Beastie's proof is. I want to say Wee Beastie is 100 plus, but Inoa might be 100 plus as well. So I'll say 110.
That's what I was just
Complete
writing.
guess.
110. Yeah.
And then it's a flip of a coin between. I don't tend to like Inoa that much. One time I did pick it like second or third in a blind of the budgets. Jacob Edward and I did one time, but man, it's literally a flip of the coin. It's either Inoa or it's Wee Beastie. On recollection, I think I like Wee Beastie better, so I'll just say it's Wee Beastie.
I did enjoy that one whenever someone brought that one to his share.
Yeah.
I wrote down 110. 110 to 115 is like my
Sweet spot.
sweet spot. And if I really enjoy a proof and a finish, that's usually kind of where I go. But I know but scotches throw me off because I know it's all like kind of,
Oh yeah, I mean, can't tell you how many Octomores that are 60 plus ABV because they're 5-year-old whiskeys that drink like they're, watered down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right.
All right, what are we on? Number 8.
Well, you never gave us your guess.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah,
this is definitely a scotch.
Yeah,
It's got the
definitely a
peatiness.
Noah or Wee Beastie, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not as up with Ardbeg offerings as you are, but there's definitely is a familiarity to it that I would agree with. I don't know if I'd pick it. Like, if you weren't here, I don't know if I'd pick Ardbeg, but I would say that's a really good scotch.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Moving on to number 8. Mm-hmm. Good legs, nice Keller.
Yeah, like I said, we're kind of getting darker as we're going along. These
Yeah,
5.
that's what you were saying. 9 and 10 definitely. It's funny. 10 is definitely the darkest. Wonder if that was by design.
I
by
mean,
our
he had to.
loving
I mean,
curators.
I don't want to say I'm that important, but no one else really does it in 5s like we
That's
do.
fair.
So
That's fair.
if he did, I'm very flattered, but I don't think we're that important.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
Oh, man.
That nose is very sweet, very floral. Very light, though, at the same time.
Well, it's hard after you had
That's fair.
7.
Yeah. You definitely need to cleanse your palate.
Yeah.
But even on the nose, there's almost like a melon, maybe a honeydew cantaloupe type of thing going on. Definitely acetone, ethanol burn on the nose on this one. But it's not leaning in to where number 1, or number 6, I should say, ran that effervescence white grape. This is just regular old. This almost nose is slightly like a Texas whiskey for me with the heat jumping out of the glass.
I've only had one that I've enjoyed, so
Texas whiskey,
and this isn't it. So
yeah. I can't get a feel for the grain. I don't know if this is a finish, and I'm just getting a lot of sweetness from the finish. But I can't get corn or malt or rye or anything on the nose. It's just kind of like sweet and hot. A little bit of melon.
The fuck is that? There's a whole lot of shit happening.
Yeah, that finish dies though.
It does, but like I got 3 different flavor profiles on that. From front to back.
I'm getting something smoky, but not in a good way. And I love peat. I don't think this is traditional peat.
There's something on the back that like it may not. I don't know if it's peat, but it definitely is like a. I don't think mesquite because I'm not getting like tire fire.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I think the smoke's probably the best part of this dram, and it's not that good.
And it's in the back.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Which is why I was like, what the fuck am I tasting? Because like, 3 different things happen.
Yeah, it's like I'll give it that. This dram evolves as it passes over your tongue, but you really need to think quick because it goes fast.
I know. That's why I'm like, shit.
Yeah. So
God, there's a weird like raw. This is just sound real fucking weird. Raw vegetable note in the middle.
Yes. I don't want to say raw, and this is going to be. It's almost like when you prep vegetables and you have like carrot tops and the butts of onions and celery, the tops of the celery greens. It's like that, and it's sat out in your trash for like 6 hours. I know I'm getting into the weeds, but like, yeah, because it's not quite just a raw vegetable.
No,
like a raw
but
carrot's
it's got
sweet,
that,
you know. So, but it's not definitely like putrid by any means. But no, this is
that's interesting.
Yeah, I would not. I mean, I can just summarize real quick. I think it's a Texas whiskey. I think it's probably, man, this could be one of those ones that's deceiving on the proof. I want to say this is cask strength, like 120, but I don't think it is at the same time because the palate just goes so quick.
Well, that's the thing, right?
But is the ethanol evaporating so fast? So
the palate goes through quick. The smoke sits at the back, but I'm not getting anything down, like any sort of hug. So, like,
that's a really good point. It could be
I
like
think
a
it's definitely
proof whiskey.
Man, I probably would go 100.
All right, I'll go 95.
Or it's just a
you go
young.
100. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the youngness is throwing me off too.
Yeah. Or like I said, somehow, like I almost want to take the gamble and say cask strength. But to your point, there's nothing cask strength about this.
That or we're just too used to it.
Yeah, I was going to say, even though we just talked about, 60 ABV scotches drinking like water, so maybe it could just be our own issue. So, fuck it. I'll say 120 just for shits and giggles to make things interesting. It gives us a little bit of a spread. Plus, you got to be right on one thing tonight.
Yeah.
So, and then...
I'm not as familiar with Texas as you are. But
the
I
only
do
reason
think this...
Yeah, I don't own any of it.
I do feel like this has like an ASM feel to it. Like maybe that's why we're getting all these weird fucking notes because... you know what I mean?
That's not a bad... That's, I would say, I'm going to say... Yeah, I'll say Texas ASM.
Because like that's usually what I get when I do try ASMs. It's very like complex.
Yeah.
Not complex, but like ever-changing.
This might be like an unmalted barley situation. You know what I mean? But I do not... If this is a Scotch, then
I didn't get it.
I'm
I mean,
sorry.
other than the smokiness, I did not
that's
get
it. I want to say this is like a peated Texas ASM. So is this like a Balcones peated ASM? I know.
Or is it like a that but finished in a? Do any of them finish in
yes, 'cause
Scotch barrels?
I was Balcones. I know for a fact, and I've tried it, and it's tolerable. They have a peated ASM finished in Sauternes, so super super sweet wine, right? This is if there's a finish here, it's a second or third refill barrel, you know.
I don't
or is that just the Keller from the climate? You know what I mean?
I don't touch Balcones anymore. Not after.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
fucking,
that's a peated ASM Texas.
From oh god, what the hell is the one Aaron cursed us with?
Any of them, literally.
Oh, the mesquite like tire fire.
Oh,
fucking
brimstone.
one. Yes. That is where if you have ever heard us or Aaron make the joke about sweaty butt scooters. Sorry, I'll wait until you're done drinking water. Like
Sorry, no
you know, like the
spillage.
blue fucking scooters we used to have in like
Yeah.
gym class in like elementary. Like I tried that and I said that smells like the locker room at my elementary school where they used to keep those things. And like I licked it after like a whole day of like being used.
Jesus.
But anyway, number
brimstone's is it scrub oak smoked? Or
Yeah.
is it yeah, that's what I thought.
It's
Scrub
either
oak.
I think it is scrub oak, yeah, because that's where it was just like I was like, what the fuck?
The only person I've ever known who's like, oh, I love that, or I shouldn't say love it. I know he's on record as saying he enjoys it. Is Dave Coopy in PWF.
Dave's got a weird palate.
Well, I mean, apparently he's a masochist, so that's the only thing I could think of. You know. I know he has yet to make it to a single Boggers share, even though he's one of our OG 50. Yeah, I'm calling him out in public.
I haven't seen Dave in a while either.
Hey, his dates nights are on Saturday, he says. I said, we'll bring him to a Boggers share.
Yeah. I know. I gotta drag my brother Tomas. So
Yes.
I gotta drag him in one of those with me.
No, for sure. Our
Yeah.
next one, obviously joint venture with PWF is, well, I mean, what technically isn't, right? We were born out of them.
Yeah. I mean, there's not. I don't. I mean, is there any? I mean, when I go, I see a lot of overlap from like our, the PW. So is there any?
Well, we are in Pittsburgh,
Well, that's true.
so
But I mean, like, is there any? Like, do you know of any people that are in Boggers that?
yes.
Are like,
Oh yeah,
okay.
we probably have 75 to 100 members that are non-PWFers.
Oh, okay, cool.
And then
Well, that's cool.
I know for a fact from going to PWF shares and going to the Boggers shares over the last year, there's probably a dozen or so folks who don't go to Boggers stuff or who don't go to PWF stuff who just come to the Boggers stuff, which is kind of cool. You know what I mean? It expands everybody's horizon.
Well, that's the thing too. Is that you are, and while there is for sure overlap, I'm definitely one
Sure.
of them, right? And you're still reaching a different demographic in a way.
Well, yeah, I mean, Boggers United, right? Like, we would love to be all over the globe. That's our grand ambition. Sourcing barrels left and right, putting out 4 single casks a month.
I know. I see some of these other like podcasts. Like one of the ones. He's actually out of Ohio. Whiskey Noobs. Have you heard of him?
No.
He's mostly. I mean, he has a podcast, but he does a lot of TikTok stuff.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I'm not on the TikToks.
and him, well, reels, but him and that one dude Ryan just did a barrel of something, and I'm like, man, fucking love the dude.
Yeah, my issue is it's just trying to get a barrel to the States, man. Scotch is a logistical nightmare. We actually sampled 2 barrels. Almost partnered up with a independent bottler over there, and it would have been great because the way it would have worked was like we could pre-sale a lot of it, what I mean,
Gotcha.
if not all of it. Like we could launch it 6 months before we bottle, and it was a very PWF business model. But they handled everything: shipping, bottling, labeling. But neither barrel was really up to our standards. I didn't think it was bad. They were Kalilas, but they had some funky finishes. And we all love Kalila in the group, and it didn't work out, and it's fine. But
Well, you don't want to force it.
correct, yeah. And then if nobody buys it and pre-orders, we were on the hook for $25,000.
That too.
and we'd have 200 bottles of whiskey that we have to drink for the next like 30 fucking years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I only drink socially. I never sit down at
Same.
home and have a pour. So for me to get through all those bottles, well, shit, I might as well, just die because I'm never gonna. There's gonna be 100 left over by the time we get through them all.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, our next share is gonna be on this January 27th or 24th. I can't remember off the top of my head. That's gonna be Burns Night Celebration.
Oh yes. Oh yeah, because it's gonna be somewhere.
It's at the Union Hall, Pittsburgh Union Firefighters Union Hall. Same place we have all our shares. Yeah, 27th, 24th is a Wednesday. So that'll be January 27th, and then we're going to have a share in April that's just a general Boggers share. That'll be in the South Hills. We found a secondary location thanks to Marla and Derek. They bought a new home, and they have a nice clubhouse in the community.
Oh, nice.
So we're going to have some shares there to kind of spread it around. It's a little bit of a weird layout, 2-story type of thing, so we're not going to have our big events there. So our 3 big events every year are Burns Night, Fesh Isle, and then the holiday party.
Yeah.
We're going to always do those at the fire hall because if
You need that space.
if God forbid 250 people show up, we can handle it.
Yeah.
So that'll be January, then April. The fest is in June. We'll do an August just general share, and then the holiday party in November again. So we've got a nice schedule this
I haven't
year.
I haven't been to a Burns Night at Aaron's in quite some time.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was it wasn't the first one he did, I think, that I went to, but definitely was like, I was still, like, we just started the show. So it was like 2019, 2018 probably.
Very newbie.
Yeah. It would have been 2019 then.
Yeah, so the cookie table would have been the second thing you filmed at Aaron's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
that was the last year.
I had no scotches except my Game of Thrones one. That is what I brought because that's the only thing I had at that point. And
couldn't even find it.
Yeah,
Too much bourbon.
Yeah, and that was all I had. So I was like, oh, I guess this is what I got to bring. Like, you know.
No, yeah. Hey, the open Game of Thrones is great. So is the Lac. They're both great pours.
What do I have?
I can't remember which one that is. It's the Targaryen house. I don't recall.
Car.
Cardew.
Yeah, Cardew. Okay. I grabbed that one towards the end of when they were releasing them. So I grabbed it because I saw it. Like, I hadn't seen it in a while, and I just saw one, and I was like, well, I want that one. It was like $40, and I was like, that's my, like...
Perfect.
Pull the trigger price. So I was like, fuck it. All right, I'll get it. You know?
No, yeah. I think that was the last year Aaron would have done Burns Night at his house in person that I'm aware of. Maybe I'm mistaken, because then COVID hit. And then I think he did a virtual share in 2021. And then 22 was last year, was with the Boggers. That was our inaugural share outside of my farmhouse. Yeah, because it got to the point I had a share in 21. Towards the end of 21, it was maybe October, November, December time frame, somewhere in there. There was like 25 people in my house. I was like, it's time, it's done. We've outgrown this. So we're having formal shares now. We got to find a spot. And we talked to Aaron about co-hosting Burns Night in 22 last year.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, Rich had the fire hall, so it all worked out good.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
number 9.
9. I'm two behind you. Oh, that is something different.
Yeah. I had sniffed it prior to us getting that tangent, and I was like,
You know what this actually reminds me of? Have you had the Grapes of Wrath yet from Liberty Pool?
Which one was that?
The latest single barrel rye they just put out.
Right.
Of the triple release in November.
I tried 2 of them, and I don't remember which 2.
Yeah,
the rye went first, correct?
High rye bourbon went first.
That one. So maybe I did have this.
That flew out the door.
Maybe I did have this.
Potatoes love their bourbon. And then the Grapes of Rye sold out. And I think maybe the following day is when the peated rye sold out. But this is big Concord grape right on the nose. You know,
I could totally see them putting one of their offerings. They usually do. There's always some sort of, especially with them doing the holiday release, the 3-barrel holiday release.
Super light on the legs. Yeah, man, this is super grapey. That's like the dominating note. I can't tell. I'm not getting anything that pushes towards bourbon or malt. There's like a bright sweetness on that, almost like a lemon curd, limoncello maybe, citrusy sweetness, candy.
I definitely think there's like different levels to sweetness, as we were
Yeah.
saying. Like there's that like white grape,
Yeah.
right? There's like the typical like citrusy like orange peel,
Yeah.
and then or like a dark cherry. Like it's like a whole other like,
Yeah, like I'm getting this just like it's Welch's Concord grapes. But then also there's this layer of candied something.
Definitely could have a Liberty Pole-esque like note. Like
Yeah,
nose
that's
to
what I'm
it.
saying. Like I instantly transported to 2 or 3 weeks ago for that holiday release at the distillery because that's what's. I'm the peat guy, and that is what stood out to me was the grapes of rye. I do think Liberty Pool's single barrel ryes are the best thing in their portfolio, though. Even though I'm the peat guy, just their regular old single barrel ryes. Pecan pie will live in infamy.
Oh,
as far
yeah,
as
yeah, the
I'll
sing-
never
oh my
let it
God.
die.
Dude, that is like highly sought after.
Where is it?
I don't have that one.
Jerk.
I know. Surprisingly, I actually don't, but I actually like. I know Kevin asked for a lot of inputs before they released it.
Yep.
But I remember I was there the one time, and he's like, "Hey, you want to try this for me?"
Yeah.
And he had it labeled like pecan.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, this is really. I mean, I'm not a pecan pie like fan.
No, I hate
but I
pecan
can understand where you can get that.
So good.
And I was like, "That's just fucking bomb, dude." He's like, that's when they were like starting to like they knew they wanted to have a consistent single barrel
program.
offering.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm just afraid we're going to put out a bad one. I was like, dude, your base is strong enough that even if you did, they'll still come back for the next one. And I was like, and this isn't a bad one, so I don't know if I can wait for it. And then like a month later, they released it. So I don't know if like I was the deciding factor, but like,
100%. It was all John. John rose Liberty Pool to success, pulled them up by their own bootstraps. Yeah, pecan pie will live in infamy. I happen to have barrel or bottle number 69.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And I do know where there's 2. Actually, I know where there's 3. One's in the PWF raffle this year.
It is.
Which I might donate $1,000 just to win it. The next is... Well, the next 2 are in private collections. One gentleman I've been bugging for a year. I don't care what it takes. Trade me for it. And if he's listening, he should just trade me for it because I have another special edition Liberty Pool that he prefers over it. So I don't know what the hell he's waiting for.
Swap. I'm trying. So the problem with and I have to redo my whole shelving unit here. Is the problem with that crate is now with their new bottles, they're too tall for that. So they're all like they're like everywhere
Congested
because
and
I just ran out of room for everything. But,
No, I'm in the same boat. I'm not allowed to have anything not within enclosed glass. So I have like this old buffet, and I have like 45 different Octomores.
Oh yeah.
I can't put any of them out in public. They got to sit in the box in the corner. That's the rules.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, I'm gonna keep the crates, but I need to do a better shelving so I can fit more because I have a lot of tall bottles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even like those bottom 2 shelves are too short.
Sure.
For some of those tall bottles. So I was like, I just need to do something else. And she says, no, you just need to stop buying and start drinking. I was like, well, that too, but
No.
no, like the start drinking part. Like, yes,
Yeah, I get
but
the
I'm
start
with
drinking
you.
part.
I'm a social drinker.
Are
so
you leading me down the route of alcoholism? Is that what you want? Oh, goodness. Yeah, so we'll say candied blood oranges. That's exotic, so it sounds good. Candied blood oranges, Concord grapes, and it actually is kind of blood orangey. And then palate, though. Oh, that's rye. I swear to God, I would not. This would not be surprised if this is the grapes of rye. I'll put my thing in now. Because I think grapes of rye is 112 proof. I'm gonna say 112 proof Liberty Pool spirits, and this is a Haas because I actually own this bottle. So I am probably way off on that. Other than
I
the
think
fact
because
it's
you
rye.
put it in my head, I don't know if I'm actually tasting like very much like Liberty Pole. I feel like has certain, just like every other main distillery, has certain characteristics that just flow with all of their, no matter what their offerings. And I'm getting that, but I don't know if I'm getting that because you put it in my head.
I can be persuasive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
But I don't hate that.
I'm gonna double down on it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm just going to mark us both at the Haas, and this, I think, of the 4 that we have had so far, this definitely has the highest proof.
I don't know. I'd have to put it up against that Ardbeg for the proof.
Well, I guess the way I determine
Interpret proof, yeah.
Yeah. That is real fucking good.
Yeah, killer legs, like I said. Very Liberty Pulley. It has those rich rye spices. It's got that clove. It's got that star anise. No cinnamon, which is a great attribute to their ryes. I don't mind a ton of cinnamon. I don't hate it as much as others. And then just with the nose, it really pushes me down that path. So, yeah, there's almost like a
I think
dark caramely brown sugar thing going on too.
I'm trying to remember. So, I was there that night because I ran into you that night, and Todd had me try 2 of them.
Yeah.
I think I tried both, but I don't
So that
remember.
would have been the only 2 I think that were left. I think they
Yeah,
even ran out of samples of high rye.
Oh yeah,
that I got.
yeah.
And I was there at 2. So
And I don't. If I did try it, I was probably just so
2 in the weeds.
Yeah. It was a lot more people than I expected when I walked in. Not that I should have been shocked, but so I was kind of already on a height and okay, what am I gonna do? I saw you over there. I was like, okay, cool. If anything, I can go chill with Brian. And I didn't even see the other guys. So I just saw you, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go over here, talk to Todd for a bit, and then at least have Brian. And had no idea Aaron was sitting upstairs.
Well,
fucking pouring out Dusties.
Yeah, great background story to that. This place is fucking packed, standing room only. It's Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, biggest drinking holiday of the year. And it's like, Ellen, hey, we got a good relationship. Myself, Rich, a lot of PWF, a lot of the Boggers. Do you want us to sequester ourselves in that, just that terrible place of a founder's room?
Exactly.
And sit on those big comfy couches and all that stuff.
Brand new fucking table.
And she didn't mention it, but all she said was, well, Jim's in a private tasting right now. And I'm thinking, oh, this is like the real deal. There's somebody up there potentially trying single barrels, big client, and somebody to engage with.
Because there's not many times where I've gone there and Ellen's like, don't go up there.
Correct.
Normally she's like, oh, you're not up there already?
Yeah, please go, because we need consumers to sit down here. They're actually going to pay for their booze instead of you schmucks bringing all your shit in for free to drink.
Yeah.
I will say, we were drinking for 4 hours before that. But it came to a certain point when there was literally just nobody could walk. Everybody was just locked in. It was great because Ellen's like, I don't care who's drinking up there, go up there. And then we walk up, it's Aaron, and it was like, oh, okay.
Pouring fucking mini Dusties.
Yeah. I was like, oh, well, all right, we can enjoy ourselves then. So,
I know when I walked in, I saw it was all you guys, and was Casey there the whole time? Or did he just get there right around when I sat down?
He got there shortly after I did. I think, let's say, I don't remember the timeline exactly, but if I got there at 2, he got there at 3.
Okay, so he was there. So I think I was just one of those anxiety blinders. I was I found someone that I knew, and I was like,
you
all right.
met us downstairs, right?
Yes.
So at that point in time, we had 2 tables right next to each other, Casey and his band of merry men and Amy's, and then we had myself, Rich. I can't remember who else was there. Anyways, so there was several of us.
Rich was the other one that I was like, oh, okay, I know. The other 2 guys, I'm blanking, but I don't think I knew.
I'm blanking too, and it's going to drive me nuts because Harold, he's always at the Boggers shares. I can't think of his last name though. So, anyways, and then the other guy I just met for the first time, and I'm so bad at names.
Oh, me too.
It's not even fair.
We go to these things, and I'm just like, I think I met you. There's a bunch of guys I talk with. This is going to sound bad if they listen to this show, but when I go to the PWF shares, I know faces.
Yeah.
And I'll go over and be like, hey, what's up? Whatever, and it's easy to spot me out because I usually have the get up on because no one, because of me using the show as my main point of contact.
Your
in the
entire
group.
Personality.
Exactly. Yeah. So I have to wear something that's that guy, And so I've had conversations with so many people who couldn't tell you their fucking name because I don't remember.
I get it. I'm always all bogged out. So if somebody wants something bog related, they usually seek me out, especially at PWF stuff. But it's
like I did with my brother.
It's like, hey guys, sorry, I'll remember you if you come to enough events, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Or just post more in the Boggers and you'll get remembered. So, but yeah, we actually we had representation at the Bastards Ball for the Magnificent Bastards. Who are those YouTube whiskey guys? Oh, shit. The big Rex and Daniel. Whiskey ball guys.
Yeah, whiskey. Yes,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So a member of ours in Texas went to the Bastards Ball, and I sent him all this,
nice.
as we call it, bog gear. Bog gear. Get it?
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
So I sent him a bunch of stuff, and
Nice.
he wore it down there. So
That's
pretty
awesome.
Cool. Yeah, and in small world, there's a guy from like Scotland who ran into him, who's in the Boggers too.
There's a couple. There's a couple different like Scotland-based whiskey groups follow the show on Instagram.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like I get like, oh, so and so followed you, and I'm like, is this a bot? And I was like, oh no, that's a real. There's a guy, Whiskey Fi, I think his name is.
I'm not sure.
On Instagram, but he's out of Australia.
I don't do a lot of Instagram. That's my issue.
He was one of our
social
first followers.
medias-
So that's how I like, and he commented on a couple things. So like, that's how I remember.
Yeah.
He's like from Australia.
Made that
or
initial
something.
impression.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, 10. The darkest of the batch.
Yeah, this is it almost has that soapy cilantro-y like rye nose, like literally soap. Mm-hmm. Did we just get 2 back-to-back ryes?
Probably. What if it's back-to-back LP rye?
I feel like they'd spread out Liberty Pool, but I could be wrong.
Who knows? I get that soapiness.
There's a bubble gum too.
Yeah, because there's like a teeny sweetness, but nothing like super like fruity sweet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is like I'm pulling back off the soapiness now. Now that I said bubble gum, and when I say bubble gum, I'm thinking like bubble, Big League Chew,
Like the powdery. Like
the chalky. Remember the bubble tape?
Yep.
Yeah, like classic pink bubble gum. That's what's coming off the nose big time now. It's funny how you'll think you have one thing. That's another reason I love to drink socially. So like if I sit here and try and evaluate it, I question myself too much. But like when you start bouncing ideas off of 3 or 4
much better.
people, yeah, you could sit here.
I think that's how you expand what you know too, because like there's certain notes that like I've never picked up, but like other people have picked it, and I was like, oh, is that? So then I like memory tag that note.
Yeah, like
and,
son of a bitch, there it is.
And because I even said like even when you're starting out, like fucking look up the tasting notes.
Yeah.
Who cares? Like you don't know.
Get
There is
familiar.
nowhere that says you have to figure it all out your fucking self.
Yeah.
Look up the taste. I mean, we did it when we first started. I had Breaking Bourbon, and then usually like the actual site of whatever we were trying to compare those notes and everything. But that's how you unless you're like a massive foodie.
Yeah.
Or
coming from the beer world or the wine world, where a lot
Already
of people
have a
were
refined-
doing this.
yeah.
Exactly. Like me, I just came in and started drinking whiskey. And I remember kind of one of my aha moments when I finally had a whiskey where I was like, son of a bitch, that's a real note, was the Gentleman Jack, of all things. There was, and it's funny to look back on now. This was 7-something years ago. And probably even, actually, I know for a fact it would have been longer than that. Probably 8 or 9 years ago, because I started dabbling in peat 5 years ago. Anyways, but yeah, I got a banana note on a Jack Daniels product. Go figure.
Ooh, yeah, right. Yeah.
But it was distinctly like banana creme brulee, or maybe it was banana runs. I can't remember, but it was a form of banana, and it's like I love when people say Jack Daniels is bananas, and I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what really got me outside of my comfort zone. Like that was my first ever note I picked up on in a whiskey. Yeah. So
I do love when you have that, even if you've been doing it for a while, but then you finally like find a note that like you've heard other people say it, and like I've never so I said there's only one Texas whiskey that I actually enjoy, and it's TX.
Everybody keeps telling me that. I've had one or two.
I enjoy their blended. I mean, for what it is. Like, I'm not saying this is like the best whiskey. It is what it is. But I get a toasted marshmallow note, like a fresh off the fire toasted marshmallow note on that I've never gotten anywhere else, and I love it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, it's a small pool to be the big fish in down there, right? Like the best Texas whiskey's like being the skinniest kid at Fat Camp. So.
Yeah. So, all right, let's go.
Good legs, good Keller. This is a nice honey gold, classic rye spice is what's jumping out at the glass.
I got the rye spice. We talked white pepper before. I'm getting the other kind of pepper on this. but there still is like a sweetness factor on it that.
That's what I'm trying to pick up. It's almost like that. It's almost like that bubble gum's carrying through, like that dusty sugar, that light sweetness is carrying through to this palate.
Or like the yeah.
There's a touch of bitterness. I don't know if that's barrel or if it's pepper. Like, or if you ever bite into it.
I get that. I mean, I get like a dryness on the end, so
that's
that
what
could
it
help.
is.
That could
It's
definitely lead
dry.
towards a bitter.
Yep. So that would lead me to bleed tannins. You know what I mean? Typically, the drier the whiskey for me, the more barrel influence. So
That's a good mental note.
yeah, you know what's funny though?
Been doing this for 5 years. I still learn shit every day.
Yeah, I mean, and that may not be true. I could be completely fucking wrong. But for me, when I get something that's dry, and I still don't understand the concept of dry whiskey, dry wine.
Exactly.
It's a fucking liquid. But like when I get something that actually like my palate feels dusted, you know what I mean, chalky, that tends to be something that has a lot of barrel influence. But rye is such an aggressive. Like if this was probably a bourbon or a single malt, it would probably just be all tannin. But since rye is so aggressive,
I got that after a couple sips that kind of like coated the top of my palate there a little bit. But you're right. Yeah, rye is such a strong that it does hide those a little bit more than you typically would. But
I will say this, and going back to the last rye, because we definitely just ended with 2 ryes, which couldn't ask for a better flight for me. For me, it's Scotch, and then it's rye, and then Irish.
So I'm glad I didn't do this set with Zach earlier this week. So.
Yeah, this is fucking beautiful. I don't know what this terrible thing, Texas thing in the middle is. But what's in it, neither one of these, I can say I won't say for a fact. With a good hunch, I don't think either one of these are Kentucky ryes. They're not sweet enough. Not near sweet enough. Like this is not a 51 rye, 49 corn mash bill on either. I say that. I'll be wrong. What you got to get that new moderator, Jim Wegand, on the show.
Yeah.
Newly announced.
Which is fun. Aaron announced it, and I immediately went, wait, he wasn't one already?
Yeah. What do you mean? Like, and then I'm looking at all the people he's tagging, and I made this snide comment. I said, "Oh, there's going to be more mods in PWF than there are in the U.S. Senate."
Yeah.
Oh,
Jesus.
Goodness. But yeah, proof. This has good proof. I think this is right in the middle of the pack. This is 95 to 105.
I agree with
Little
105.
light.
Yeah.
I'll say 95. I'll be on the low end of that.
Okay.
As far as a guess of like what it is or anything, no clue.
I agree that it's a rye, but that's
It's
about
rye.
where it stops.
I don't think it's a Kentucky rye. If it is a Kentucky distillery, they're doing a very rye forward mash bill. So, are we going to rank these like in our order of preference? Is that something you've done
We
yet?
can do, yeah. So the last one I just said, what was your top pick? But we could definitely do a ranking. What's your rating on this last one, on number 10?
Since I'm a rye guy and I've been trying to expand my ryes, fuck it. Yeah, it's blind. I'll pick it up. Sure, it'll go to the house.
I said downtown just because of that.
See, I think you want to talk about overthinking. I think about it too much. I'm like, I never drink when I'm out, so I don't
Me
buy
neither.
any. I don't buy anything in downtown. So like, how do I even go to that category? But anyways, I digress. What's yours?
No, downtown. I mean, not that I don't like it. I do enjoy it. But I enjoy it. But it's not like one of those like fucking flavor bomb that I'm looking to have for me.
That's fair. Yeah.
Or an intro-ish whiskey. Like, I think this is probably like a good like medium.
Yeah, like a run of the mill.
Yeah. So like for me, that's downtown. Like, try it for yourself. I wouldn't pass it up if I got it as a gift, right? But
If
It's
I
just
was
not-
at a whiskey
it's not checking
share-
the boxes
If
for
I was
me.
at a whiskey share and this was on the table,
I'd try. Oh, for sure.
There we
Oh,
go.
for sure.
Maybe I need to reframe my downtown for just whiskey shares.
Maybe maybe we need to do that. Yeah.
because those I actually attend.
Yeah.
So-
Oh yeah, it's a we go out. If I go out, I'm like, I have that. I have that. I have that. I have
Yeah.
that. I have that. I don't want that. That's too fucking expensive.
Yep.
You know, or I'm like pushing like, oh, you need to get some Liberty Pool on your shelves. But I'm like, but I won't fucking buy it when I'm out because I have it at the house. you know?
Exactly. Try being a Scotch guy.
Oh,
You're drinking Ardbeg 10, Lafroig 10, and that's pretty much about it. And then you're Glenfiddich.
so we went to this Italian restaurant in Market Square. I'm blanking on the name. But they do a house old fashioned that is made with, I don't remember which Lafroig, but it is Maker's Mark 10 and Lafroig, like split.
Yeah.
And that's
Like a
the
smoky
whiskey base.
old-fashioned, yeah.
Like old fashioned. I got it the last time we were there, and I enjoyed it. I thought it had the right balance of sweet and peat and whatever. I don't remember which. I think it just literally just said Lafroig on the thing.
Probably
but,
Lafroig Select, $35 a bottle. Like,
yeah, but
great in a cocktail.
I thought it was. I hadn't seen that out.
Yeah.
Normally, when a place has a house old fashioned. Well, first I use it. Okay, well, what's in it? Like, if they don't put it, like that one put it. A lot of places just use knob.
Yeah.
Which I don't hate, but if there was like a house old fashioned, like I'm like, all right, I'll try it. Let's see what you got. Kind
Go
of thing.
for it.
But, well, cool. All right, so yeah, let's do rank.
Well, this is easy. Seven's the clear winner. 7, 9, 10. Yeah, I think I'd go 7, 9, 10, 6, 6, 8. Put 2 ryes in front of 2 peated whiskeys.
Yeah.
The world is gonna fucking burn.
Definitely 7. I think that's tough between 7 and 9, and that's not because we think it's Liberty Pool. I just really enjoyed.
No, that was
9.
a fantastic whiskey. Yeah. I think I'm overly biased, but
I think I'm gonna reverse it. I'm gonna go 9-7,
Yep.
just to be different. I just got other notes on
face you
8.
just
I just
made.
got other notes on 8. I don't think I put them back in the wrong order.
Why
I'm
the
just
hell
like,
did you go back to 8 for? That was the worst thing we've ever had.
What did I say? 9-7.
6 between 6 and 10 was a little tough. I think I just like the more approachable, rounded profile of 10. That's what put me over the edge.
I'm literally just gonna go the reverse of you. 9-7, 6-10, 8.
6 is good, but it makes you think too much, which isn't always a good thing.
Yeah. But all right, cool. Well, that's it for the blind tasting episode. So we will be back in the next episode, which usually will come out in a couple days after this one. So I won't do our outro. I'll just say see you guys later.
See ya.